Welcome back. To touch more on the great cultural resources and the collaboration potential between China and Italy, we are joined by Pier Francesco Fumagalli, famous sinologist and former deputy director of Biblioteca Ambrosiana. Welcome to Dialogue.
Thank you, Mr. Xu. I'm very happy for the invitation and grateful.
Last year, you published the book Biblioteca Ambrosiana with Sino-Western cultural exchanges. So you talked about basically the great number of Chinese works of arts collected by this library. This library is the oldest in Milan and one of the oldest in the world. So what kind of role does the library play in facilitating cultural exchanges between China and Italy, or in a larger sense, China and the West?
And again, 400 years ago, when the Archbishop of Milan established the Ambrosiana Cultural Center with a library, art academy, scientific academy, etc., one should remember this Archbishop was a friend of Galilee, and he studied mathematics and other sciences. So he was himself a scientist. Then he invited to the Ambrosiana some Jesuits before they had go to Beijing. And even he sent as a gift the first telescope to Johannes Schreck, the first charged for the astronomic office in Beijing. Then who entered with the Galilee object? That was an exchange of intercultural exchange. Then the library received or was interested in buying Chinese books. We have a Daming Guanzhi, a very famous book in the system, political and administrative system of China, published in China in 1543. Then we have a map of Daming Wangguo Quantu from Giulio Aleni. Wangguo Quantu is a very modern planisphere according to the planisphere of Limadou, published in Hangzhou in 1623, etc., etc. We have very interesting reports from China and to China. That was really a reciprocal exchange 400 years ago.
We are talking basically, if you go back so long history, I mean, Italy, China, it represents sort of different civilizations. In 2023, the Chinese side, of course, proposed global civilization initiative. The idea is like, different civilizations, there is a stress on the coexistence, mutual learning and exchanges among the different civilizations. What do you make of that kind of idea?
Yeah, I thank you for this question, because I will talk about that in Shandong University in about 2 weeks. I will go to Jinan with my friend Professor Fu Youde at the Shandong Daxue, exactly on these issues. I mean, there are on the world several or a lot of different cultures and civilizations. So look to the Islamic, to the Shmuel Huntington, these historians. He wrote about 8 major Africa, Latin America, North Europe and North America, and Orthodox Slavic cultures, and then the Islamic, then the Indian, the Chinese, and the last one, the Islamic. But we can add much more. Huntington was criticized because he forgot something. For example, I was last year in an international philosophic gathering in the capital city of South Arabic state. Then the philosopher at the end of the philosophical 3 days questions told, if we wish to look for global peace, we should also include juridical aspects, scientific aspects, philosophical aspects, and also the theological one of the monotheistic, the Shijie, Moshi Shijie, the Mosaic law. The 10 Commandments are the basis in the Quran, in the Jewish Bible, in the Gospel. All those aspects together could be very interesting. So the global civilization is a big dream, and I think is real, very important for the future.
That's true for the future. And of course, if you go back a little bit, earlier you mentioned about Marco Polo. So this year marks the 700th anniversary of Marco Polo's passing. Italian ambassador to China, Mr. Ambrosetti, said, quote, Marco Polo and his works have built a bridge for cultural exchange between Italy and China and are still inspiring people's imagination. So I guess it's still deeply relevant today in terms of communication between Italy and China.
Yeah, because in that time, Kubilai Khan, the great emperor by not exactly, the great master or king of the hemispheric domination from China to Ukraine to Kiev, from Siberia to Baghdad, then he was able to accept from many European countries ambassadors, traders, but he welcomed in a special way Marco Polo. He was very young, talented, with letters as ambassador, very clever in understanding different peoples, in managing different languages. So he had a big experience for 17 years in China as a expert for trade, ambassador. If you read the book of Marco Polo, the book was translated in Latin as a De Mirabilibus Mundi, Livre de Merveille in French, Milione in Italian, Marco Polo di OG, sai Hanyu, then. So it became a masterpiece in overall the Western world. Then he had a big influence in Latin, in French, in Venetian languages, of course, Venice, and in Italian. In the old ancient Italian is a masterpiece also for ancient Italian languages. So, I mean, that is a global cultural intersection.
In 1970, China and Italy officially forged this diplomatic relationship. And then, of course, this year also marks this 20th anniversary of the establishment of the China-Italy Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. So at this moment, you talk about the future. Share with us your expectation for the future of the relationship between the two countries, the two peoples.
The basic hope is for the future is to be able, Italy, but not only Italy, also Europe, and in any case, including all the aspect of our so-called Western side of the world, together with China, and China including, of course, China is not only, well, there is Vietnam, the South Indonesian area, the South Pacific, there is even Japan, even Korea. All those countries could be included in a big area, and the dialogue between the two or three, Africa, of course, mainly very important. That is the future for Italy could play a role, and China, of course, should play a role.
With that, we come to the end of today's show. Many thanks to our guests. You can also find us on the CGTN app on YouTube. I'm Xu Qingduo. Thanks for being with us. See you next time.